Hello, welcome back to Access at E3 2018. Nath,
Hello.
we've played FIFA 19.
Yeah, for ages. Yeah, it was really good.
We did play it for ages.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
played it for ages. I didn't lose a single game. In fact, I won every game I played against the computer, against Dave, and against Nath.
Should we move on?
Let's move on
Let's
to how
move on.
we played specifically the Champions League final in FIFA 19.
Yeah, this is what one of the things they announced at the EA kind of conference that was on earlier on today was that the Champions League is now in FIFA for the first time, and adds to their already glittering array of licenses. And we wanted to see how the atmosphere and all of that would come together with the game, which got all the real players, all the real stadiums and stuff. It was really good.
I thought it was amazing. It's no secret that I love PES, but this impressed me hugely.
Yeah.
Like, lots of little nerdy details that I thought really just upped the atmosphere of everything. Like in the tunnel, pre-match, in the tunnel,
Yep.
where the players are like, clapping hands with each other, geeing each other up. Little sound effects, like really pleasing clapping hand sound effects. Things that you hear when you watch football on the TV. You hear them, slapping each other on the back. They were little, go on lads. So I could hear little bits of voice in there, and they were like, walking around, you could hear the clatter of their studs on the marble floor.
Yep.
And it's just loads of little details that really, you hear them and you're like, oh, that's exactly what watching football on TV sounds like.
So for me, the big things were, at this stage in a FIFA demo, you would never normally get to be Spurs because they're not normally big enough. The Spurs were in that, so that's obviously big points for me. And so I played as Spurs, and the atmosphere. I mean, we were wearing headsets, which maybe when I play FIFA I wouldn't be, and that's obviously going to add to it a little bit. But just playing the game, like my first game was against Dave. I think Dave maybe scored first, and then I equalised, and then like just a huge kind of when the Spurs go marching in, started up, and I was just like, wow, like lucky enough to have been to a couple of Spurs like Champions League games last season, and like the atmosphere is just spot on. Like it's real, It's really, really good.
And they've nailed the difference in sound between supporters from different countries as well.
Yep.
There's the kind of loud, rousing, like, support of the English teams like Tottenham, Man United, and then I was playing a game as Paris Saint-Germain against Real Madrid, and I scored as Paris Saint-Germain, and their supporters just did the most incredible chant, like a really sort of intimidating chant, but when it's on your side, you feel, and it made me feel different as I was playing it. It sort of G'd me up a bit. I was like, yeah, come on.
Loads of specific commentary as well. So like Lee Dixon and Derek Ray, and talking about Spurs, like trying to take the next step in being like a big team in Europe. Loads of City, like it's the next big thing. It's like their project is building up to winning the Champions League.
I do like that kind of thing. I played Man City versus Man United, and it built up Man United and how they'd won the 3 Champions League finals before. Talked in quite a lot of detail about each final, and then I won as Man City, and it was like, Man City have claimed their maiden Champions League victory. Lee Dixon, who is a Manchester City fan, was had specific lines about how amazing it feels to be a fan of Man City, never thinking they would ever win the Champions League, and
that is cool.
And it was just little things like that, just little bits of effort that have gone into the presentation that make you feel so grounded in the excitement and the atmosphere of the Champions League. It was great.
It was also the first time that we got obviously hands-on with the game, and there are going to be loads of gameplay changes. They're not really spelled out for us at this stage, and you need hours and hours to really get to grips with it. But we can talk about some first kind of key gameplay changes that we noticed. I don't know if you tried this yet, Rob, but there's like a perfect timing shot thing.
I did try it, and I was not very good.
I wasn't very good at either, and it's a bit like for the last couple of years in FIFA, they've done this thing where if you're cutting in at an angle into the box, you can kind of drive a shot across the goalie into the bottom corner with like a second tap of the shot button. And this is basically that, but you can use it anywhere. And your little kind of player marker will flash. If you do it well, it will go green, and if you do it badly, it will go red.
I only saw it going red.
So it's kind of a risk-reward thing, because you don't need to use it. And if you do use it, sometimes you can make it red, but the shot still goes on target because you're in such a good position. So the odds were that you were going to have a decent shot anyway.
And you can be controlling someone like Leroy Sané or Aguero, who are good at shooting.
All the stats and things and all the situational stuff that normally goes into determining whether a shot is successful is still kind of there. So it's not like you do this and you mess it up and it's definitely wrong. But then Dave timed one perfectly with Gabriel Jesus, did a through ball behind my defence, and he caught it, and he looked like he could just do the turning his body and finesse shot into the corner, but he struck it first time, got green, and it just rifled into the top corner on like the near side of my keeper. It looked amazing, and I think the idea is to give that kind of risk reward mechanic, so really go for like a huge shot. And what it does is like it just puts more power and like more chance of curve, more accuracy.
I guess it's more it's be quite good in situations when you're playing a lesser team, like if like me I like to do career mode, and occasionally a player from a lesser team will score an absolute banger.
Yes.
And you know, even if their stats are lower, it gives you that opportunity to score some incredible goals with, you know, League 2 teams, for instance.
Yeah, you do want those kind of like big wow moments, don't you, whenever you're playing. The other stuff, there's kind of two other things really to talk about, and one of them was they've talked a lot, they call it active touch, I think, and it's about first touch, trying to make that whole kind of contact area, like the first time you receive the ball and then your first touch as you move it off, trying to make that feel more realistic. It had the effect, I think this game feels, again it's going to change a lot from what we've played, but it feels a lot less reliant on pace. Actually kind of frustrating, having played a lot of FIFA 18 recently with the World Cup mode, that I wasn't getting away from defenders that I thought I normally, you know, I've timed that through, but I should be away. But at the same time, the dominance of pace can be frustrating, and you know, they're always tweaking it. And
as we know from having played Brazil multiple times as England.
The World Cup mode. Yeah, exactly. So this made it kind of feel again like the midfield was more of a kind of more options to play more tactically, to play a bit slower. And the other thing, which is probably the biggest deal, is that the tactics, which you can just use access on the D-pad. Normally, you know, everyone starts on balanced, and you can go like attacking, ultra attacking, all out attack. They've now made it so that you can go into a tactic editing menu, and for each one of those settings you can change everything. Like it seems really in depth, that we didn't have enough time to really play around with how it affects games, but the options that you have are so in depth that I can't see how it couldn't change it. So say you go from balance to defending, you get to decide what defending means from. You basically get the full array of kind of normal team editing options. So you can choose, you can make it so that players swap wings if you go ultra attacking, say, or you can make it that if you're defending, you can change the position of the players on the pitch. Like, you know, you can go into edit position and just have people tuck in. You can change formation entirely. So if you want to, you know, defending doesn't just mean everyone is dropping back. Yeah, you can go to a 5-man defense or a 5-man midfield or whatever you want.
And you can make defending mean you perform a really high press on the opposition as well.
There are different, so what sort of defending it is. So it could be, I mean, I've actually written them down here. So it's balanced at the moment. The options are balanced, drop back, pressure on heavy touch, press after a possession loss, or constant pressure, which is obviously going to tire your team out.
Yeah.
And what I feel like is sometimes you're playing with a team on last year's FIFA, and you know, if you get really good, it's not such a big deal. But like if you're just messing around with the team and you're not really sure of the formation and stuff, sometimes it feels like the way that the game has set that team up can play against how you are trying to play with them. And this is like, you know, I can make players, because you still have all the instruction stuff on this as well, so you can, for every one of like, you know, balanced offensive or attacking or whatever, you can give players individual instructions on the sorts of runs they should make, the sort of covering they should do, the sort of pressing they can do, so that when you say, if I played like a career mode with Spurs and I had, you know, I could have 3 different modes of attacking and defending all set up, and I would know exactly what each player was doing. I could make substitutions when a game was going a certain way. I think that the minute detail and the fact that it's all accessible so quickly on the D-pad is going to like make a really big difference. It's going to be good. It's going to take hours to actually kind of figure out how effective it is, but it's going to be really good.
It's made me think I might actually use it. A man who has never once touched a tactic slider in any football game ever. I just don't bother. And
I feel like it's solving a problem which I actually had, you know, which is what you want new features to do. So, and then another really small thing, I think that you said that this was in PES last year, but player switching in FIFA 18 was a bit of a frustration for me. What a boring thing to be frustrated with, but it's actually true. And FIFA 19, it just gives you like a hollow triangle above the player to let you know if you do press quick switch, that's the one that's going to change. So then you already know what direction you should be moving in and that kind of thing. So those for me were like the most obvious changes. We're going to have more as soon as they kind of have like a tour. We'll go down and we'll do like a full breakdown of what they're doing.
50-50s was good as well.
Yeah,
like,
there's
50
battles.
A bit of a random ricochet effect going on, because quite often when you lose possession in FIFA, you'll know, okay, I'm not getting this ball back now. But there were quite a few situations where I was challenged, but somehow the ball just luckily ricocheted off my foot and sort of spun out in a lucky way for me.
Something they've been kind of doing for a few, but it's all based on attributes now, and so, you know, physics based. So the idea is that it's less kind of animation based and more based on the like skills and power of the actual players. So
it was very, very impressive.
Yeah.
And it sounds and looks
this could have
phenomenal.
been a very different video if you had lost all of your games.
Yeah.
But you seem really positive
if
about
I'd lost all my games,
this is great. I got to see Spurs in the Champions League. Rob won. And we're very excited about FIFA 19. Let us know in the comments what you think from what you've seen of FIFA 19 already. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and do subscribe. Stay around. We're going to be at E3 all week. We've got loads more videos coming up.